We are human subject. Okay. Um, so as I've always said, I will never identify with the manipulation experience, and I understand what this program is about. We are human subject in this program that is developing technology. Well, it's nothing developing. It's a weapon on us. So it's a weapon development program. It's a weapon because they use this technology to manipulate us, to break us down. They do things to our body to destroy us, to kill us. That's why it's a weapon. And who are those people? Obviously, this is coming from DoD entities. It's obviously coming from Department of Defense. That's why there's so many people involved in this. That's why the technology is as sophisticated as it is, and almost science fiction. I mean, the ability to manipulate your brain hack you, meaning that able to control your thoughts, reactions, and a lot more. Basically, you become almost a puppet, where they can do and make you experience whatever they want you to experience, and basically see how they can break you down the most efficient way and make you identify with this persona they implant into you. They make you have reaction toward children. They make you experience false memories, stimulations, whatever they can do to make you feel like, basically, to project the reality of what they are. They do this pedophilia type of torture. You've heard that terminology before. Literally, somebody's saying that I'm experiencing the pedophilia type of torture. That is not a terminology I came up myself. That person who said that is not the only one. Matter of fact, a lot of target individual who say their target individual have experienced some kind of pedophilia type of torture. That alone show a pattern. It show a pattern that's in their ways to break you down. In their protocol, the pedophilia type of tormenting is one of them. But where it comes from, the people doing this, the people architecting this technology, the reality is when they talk about pedophiles, this trash work for pedophiles. So, like I said, they contract, this governmental entity contract these people who then are tasked to implement these tactics, right? They do all these kind of things of like repeating things, and just try to like disorient you via this V2K technology. And other ways, noise campaign, slamming the door, doing the things to try to disorient you, right? Those are typical tactic from the CIA, where they try to disorient you. They try to basically break you down and repattern you in different ways, right? And they contract civilians to do that. Interesting part here is, there's this guy who used to work in he's basically the HR of the Department of Defense, right? He does the background security and ensuring that there's no compromisable people involved in it. He said because they need so many people for the keeping up of the developing of weapon, they need to contract a lot of people for short-term clearance. It's hard for them to do a proper background check, which kind of makes sense because I believe these people here are contracted by those entities one way or another, either subcontracted or some kind of contraction where they have some kind of clearance, not even clearance but accessibility, and so there's so many of them. Who knows what kind of people they are? And I'm sure there's some foul people, and I know there's some foul people. Matter of fact, I know they're all foul for just participating in this. But going back to this, those entities contracting this trash filled with pedophiles. You see this here. This is reality. When you're in this program, you become more and more spiritual. You become more and more spiritual. Because these people warn you how you're going to be tortured and everything else, which is what they're going to do to you. But there's something warning them of reality. These people fully are manipulating you to experience this nasty pedophilia type of torture. That is what they're supposed to do. They're tasked to. That is part of the tactics. Almost all target individuals are experiencing that. There are tactics of doing certain things, and the pedophilia type of torture is the most common, one of the most common, on top of the sexual torture. And so, when you see who's running this program, you find that there's a lot of pedophiles in these agencies. Look at this here. This is an article, and I'll share the links, basically calling out that the amount of child porn they see from employees working in the national security, or working in some kind of intelligence community using national security computers, they keep seeing the amount of child porn on their national security computers. The shocking amount, unbelievable amount of child porn on national security computers. That shows that this trash involving this have been projecting like listen, they want us to identify with things that we know we're not. They do everything possible. They use this technology, can do so much to you. Matter of fact, as I'm speaking, because I'm speaking about the reality of what they're part of, they're doing things to my stomach. The way they try to counter the reality and disorient you at this point is to try to torture you into forgetting reality. Let's see this. Feds have found unbelievable amount of child porn on national security computer. Now, I've been saying that what kind of individual, first of all, come up with these tactics of breaking people down using pedophilia type of torture? Who can come and is like, you know what? The best way to break somebody down, let's make him or her think about children this way. Let's stimulate him every time he looks at children, or stimulate her when she looks at children. Let's have them have dreams in these sexual and disturbing pedophilia ways. You gotta see that this is a culture, like pedophilia, like centric culture in these agencies. It doesn't even end there. In the other article, right, the Boston Globe literally wrote an article in 2010 addressing that there is so much issue with child porn. There's so much issue with child porn. There was this nationwide investigation from immigration, if you can see here. Is the immigration, Homeland Security Immigration? It was supposed to they believe that there's this website that was ran from like some outside of the country, and they wanted to figure out. Basically, the big investigation is to find out who's running this child porn website. If they had that, they believe that it was from some external country, so that's why this Homeland Immigration involved themselves and created this investigation. But what they end up finding out is a significant amount of the people downloading child porn from this website and paying for their service. There was a significant amount that were working for the Pentagon. They were talking about 5,200 from different agencies. 5,200. 5,200. Only 3,500 were checked out. At the end, I think altogether 70 eventually pursued some kind of like persecution. Out of 5,200. Now, these people, they try to do everything to make you accept a false reality when they live in this reality. They live in a reality where these people know they work for entities filled with pedophiles. They do the pedophilia type of torture. And they try to sound fierce. They even tell me how they're going to frame me by implanting child porn on my computer. This is what these foul piece of shits do. That's the life of these bottom feeders contracted by these governmental entities. Not only they talk about what they're going like, but not only they manipulate us to experience this disgusting reaction, but they even like, and they try to be fierce about it. There's been this thing about CIA trying to recruit woke people, and so they as you can see in the next picture, they've been mocked because this ad that was supposed to be like showing how CIA is so progressive now and so woke, using all the right terminologies and pronouns. The CIA. You think this stopped? You think this this disappeared? The guy who said there was the amount of child porn, it was in 2016. This article come out and it's like all agencies, even DARPA, they found a program manager downloading child porn at DARPA. Program manager. This technology they use onto us is obviously coming from DARPA. This trash obviously are just the bottom feeders contracted to do this. They have a task, they do these things, they work for these governmental entities where there's a bunch of pedos. These pedophiles empower these people in a way that they feel special. For example, they tell me, oh, it's going to be our choice to do whatever we want with you. The reality is, once you put in this program, once they get the result they need, they can do whatever they want to you. And they feel empowered because they can do whatever they want to you when you are a human subject. First of all, I know who put me in this program, and it's no woke progressive entity, by no means. It's a very conservative organization that donates a lot of money to the conservative parties of the government, even to the point where they've donated money to somebody who allegedly, when he was 35 years old, an assistant DA, was banned from the YMCA because he was picking up kids as young as 14 years old. Do you know they cannot even say his name? In every fashion you look at them, there are layers of pedophilia in the whole world. While for you, not only they every day they are manipulating me. If somebody looks like a child, if somebody is a child, I will get some kind of reaction. It's a girl. Any boys every once in a while sometimes they do stimulation, but if it's a child, a little girl or a kid of some sort, they will do these nasty things to me. Or even they don't even have to be children. They can even look like they can be children. I will get some disgusting reaction. They will force me to react toward what I see in a sexual way if it's a child. Mostly girls. And then they're like, oh no, they are remapping. You understand these people, what you're saying, these people here. This trash in this program that is developing this technology that is literally destroying your body and your mind, conditioning your brain to think about kids in a sexual way 24/7. That is their job, and they call it being a war. They're not a war. They are contracted to develop this technology, and the way they break people down is to use this pedophilia type of torture, would push somebody to kill themselves, or lose their mind. Mass shootings just happened. 18 people dead. The man that ended up killing those 18 people, via the V2K, they were insulting him of pedophile. He, I think, believed that those locations where he ended up killing, that's where he came from. When they killed 18 people altogether. And then they want you to identify with the manipulation. Right now, because they obviously do the pedophilia type of torture, you're gonna hear. For me, I'm gonna make sure that when you involve yourself in this program, you will give up any sense of rationality. You will become a child. You become retarded because they gaslight you, right? Gaslighting is really trying to force you to believe a false reality. Truly, based on the way they act, they want you believe that because I'm slamming the door, because I'm doing this, because I'm telling you you are. Me, who's in a program, who literally, you're gonna hear that after this, apply this pedophilia type of torture systematically. You should subscribe to me. Me, who even in a program that torture children sexually and women. They do these horrible things. But on top of that, just to add the cherry on top, this is who they work for. Those are the entities running the programs. They come from the Pentagon. They come from the Langley. This is Department of Defense program. It's ran by these governmental entities. These trash are just the nothings. Yes, they can make you believe they're gods because they're going to tell you things that, wow. But look at them. Nobody's. But once you're in this program, you have access to technology that can do so much. So you see this nobody, even children, a child, an actual child, can say the same thing they do. They can say the same thing they say. They can do the same thing. They can do what these people do. So you understand that it's just obviously that they're working this program with extremely advanced technology, with which is weaponized, which is a weapon actually. For me, to try to counter that, they're like, no, but you see, in 2014, there's this person that they keep trying to like make me subscribe. Listen, you see the white crusade in front of you. You know what they say? No, in 2014, you follow this person. I followed this girl. Well, at the time, I believe she was an adult. I really believe she was an adult. It was in 2014. I was like 27 at that point. Looked at her, 100% believed that she was like a college student or something like that. Follow her on Snapchat, on this social media. Never ever even no interaction about. Till today still haven't interacted with this person. Just watching her story, following her life, going through life with her boyfriend, whatever, traveling, all of that. It's like, you see, we mapped it. It's like, you see how she looked. She looked like an adult. Matter of fact, today, if you remove her makeup, she looks younger today than when she was younger, when she was not an adult yet. So I'm like, listen, this is reality. You are here forcing me to get stimulation toward children of all age, from the little ones to the older kids. Matter of fact, not even as they do this even to adults who look like children. There was like a coworker of mine. She looked very young. She's a coworker. She's obviously an adult in her 20s, early 20s. But because she looked very much more like a kid than an adult. Listen, I'm never going to say that I won't be able to see a 22-year-old and find her, appealing. Of course, if she looks like a woman. But this one looks like a kid to me, like a little sister. Very pretty, but like a kid. It's just like, ugh. But she's an adult. She's an adult. She's a coworker. I respect her as a coworker, professionally. But the way she appears very young. They gave me stimulation just for that. And so then they're like, no, we mapped that. But you're going to hear everything they do is done systematically. I'm not the first and I will not be the last one. The one thing about this that is governmental, is protocol to the point like Department of Defense, is because the things they do is so systematic all over the world. It's just this is organized in a way that it just obviously comes from those entities that they keep finding child porn on their computers. So while they are here working for entities filled with pedophiles, they are here. Tell me that they're gonna frame me in so many fashion. One, they say gonna implant child porn. These people here, where when they did this big investigation, 5,200 employees of the Pentagon were caught with child porn, or they said there was child porn. Only 70, by the way. Only 70. It's 0.00000% of. It's just such a small percentage of this 5,200 that were prosecuted. Let me see. Let me do the math. such a small percentage is definitely so. Out of 5200, 70 out of 5200, it's actually 1.3% were prosecuted out of the 5200. You understand? So it is at least 1% of these people got persecuted. I don't know if any of them got actually anything happened to them. But you understand, there is a problem. There is a problem in these entities, and this trash are here telling me how they're gonna dare to implant child porn. When you see that in front, when you see this image here, to them this is daring, but apparently they've been daring for a long time. And there's a problem with a lot of darers in these entities. But the reality of what they do to us, the manipulation, the nastiness, all of that you've heard before. It's systematically done to us. They do this pedophilia type of torture, and they want us to identify with these things. Listen to the obvious testimony that you heard already a few times, but I don't mind bringing that up every time.
V2K, or voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just as malodorants. This is the alteration of the smell sensation, so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including...
It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like, this disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my, or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care.
Breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds, and vice versa.
This technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal, or it can sort of turn off the...
Afterwards, that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ass. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals, love to use children for the torture and stalking, street theater etc. Especially teenagers for the stalking at close range with an attitude, they are using them during my sleep in the perversion program, and so you can imagine what the slaves of torture are pretending to do to me. In the last days, as today September 9th, 07, anything I do, either watching TV or reading of whatever I'm doing, they brush me sort of say, I feel like I'm aroused all day and I feel the palpitations in my genitals for what I'm thinking, and since the attack comes so quickly, I realized my programming has been set on auto, in their central computers, no handlers could do something like this that quick. What make me realized, the slaves are desperate to get me. Unfortunately for them, they are facing a strong wall where no matter how much their computers EAP me, I know I'm not changing. As I said, I feel like they've been set up a beam where I feel constantly stimulated. I'm talking sexually, like a heat in my genitalia.
A speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism. and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy session. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. A 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on...
So they'll say, we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all the stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this. And so anyway, my interview with Len, he very well described a typical breakdown script that's used on almost all the TI victims. TI stands for targeted individuals. Some of them are pretty crazy. They have names like Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, and those are the confusion tactics. And when they're breaking down the ego of the human through all the pains and tortures and the verbal breakdown, these are typical CIA torture scripts.
2-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI. That the agency...
Thing from the record...
trial, but sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more frequency in our intelligence agencies, or is this something that is more pervasive in the general population than I originally realized? I mean, what's going on here? This is bizarre. It's so evil.
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind
CIA raping children and sexually assaulting children, and they're not being prosecuted? Where are you?
So you obviously hear the obvious trend here, and you see what's been happening. To counter this, how they were trying to change this and manipulate me. This woman talks about what's going on. Why is there so much issue with this pedophilia and child porn? Is this something that's normal, even like in the intelligence community, or just like even the general public? And they try to you see general public, so it's like these people are literally telling me they're gonna implant child porn on my computer. These people who are filled pedophiles and be doing the pedophilia type of torture, as you heard. These people are ran by pedophiles and project reality onto others. They are nasty, low-life cowards. And you heard what they do to even children. There's more to this. You can hear the torture of a 3-week-old. And they try to be fierce. Talk about how they're going to implant child porn. These people that you see here, shocked by the amount of child porn. And then they try to be badasses. They're just nasty, low-life pedophiles. And you know what they like to lie to themselves? The way they try to cope with reality? We are at war. That's why we're going to plant child porn. They're not at war. Their job is to break down the human subject. Because we're just guinea pigs to this program. And they use this trash to delude themselves to deal with this reality. They're just a bunch of lowlifes. But I'm thankful I never had to work and compromise myself in that level. Right now I have to counter the fact that it's, the entity I work for, failed pedophile, the program I work for, torture children. We do the pedophilia type of torture. And I have to lie to myself, we are war. I'm going to implant child porn. I'm fierce. Thank you, God.